everyone, this is Pam with Betty Jane's Quilting and Crafts. So the last couple videos that we brought you here in Southern California, it was cold and rainy. And today it's a bright, beautiful day. Sun's out in Southern California and we're around 90 degrees. So it's a beautiful day outside. We got all the windows open and airing the house out a little bit. So what I'd like to talk about today is another one of my passions. It's older or antique quilts. I buy whatever I can find. I'm not particular on, like one design or anything. If I see it and it catches my eye, like I've said in the past, my husband says, go ahead, buy it. So today, that's what I would like to talk about and show you some of the older quilts that I've collected, maybe where I got them and what I was thinking when I bought them. So here we go. My first one that I would like to show you is the hexagon. This is a grandmother's garden done with hexies. As you can tell by the fabric, it's a old fabrics. You can definitely tell that. I have done some, or tried to do, I guess I should say, some hexagon quilts. I started one about 2 years ago. I do my little hexagons in the car when we're traveling from place to place. And so it hasn't gotten very far down the road. So when I saw this, I knew how much work went into this. And I just knew that I could bring it new life. So I went ahead and bought it. I actually bought it up in Oregon. I think the price tag's still on it. I paid $49 for it. I bought it in an antique shop in Sisters, Oregon. Me and my husband usually go up to the Sisters outdoor quilt show. If you've never been, you should go. It's absolutely wonderful. And it's only one day, but they have a couple antique shops in town, and I always like to look at those while I'm there. And I did find this treasure in one of those antique shops. So again, I bought it. I am going to finish the quilt, but I would like to have comments from all of you as to whether I should hand quilt it or put it on my long arm machine and quilt it that way. Now, I know there's a couple different schools of thought on this. A lot of people, say if it's an older quilt, it should only be hand quilted. I don't know how to hand quilt, but I'm always up for a challenge, so I would definitely learn how to do that. But I'd like to hear your comments and your thoughts on the subject. Of course, if I machine quilt it, it can be done in a day or two. So that's kind of the difference. It's speed versus long term. So give me your comments. Let me know. I would appreciate it. And so yes, this is my first one. Grandmother's Garden, the hexagons. I hope my cameraman Robert can get a good shot of this because, like I said, I really do think it's a treasure. It's got scalloped edges, which I plan on keeping. And I'm just going to do a wavy border along the edge. So, did you get it, cameraman Robert?
I got it.
Okay, thank you. All right, now on to the next one. This one I found in a boutique, actually for my quilt guild. We do a show once a year in February. It's a fabulous show. And so if you're anywhere near the Hebbet area, you should come check it out in February. But this was in our boutique shop. So I don't remember what I paid for it. I'm thinking it was about $10 when I bought it. But I would like to show it off a little bit more here, if I can spread it out. And now on the edges, if cameraman Robert can zoom in on this.
I'm right on it.
Okay. These are the edges that still are not finished. The squares are on there. I still need to put the orange peel pieces in. So I will now take this, finish it off. I know as quilters, a lot of us start projects and we just get a little overwhelmed by either the pattern or the cutting of the pieces or whatever, and we give up and we give it away, we sell it. And a piece like this, I'm sure somebody was working on and just got frustrated and ended up giving it away. So what I like to do is I like to take these and purchase them, and I go ahead and finish them off. I hate to see something this beautiful wasted. Here's my little chihuahua.
Burglar alarm.
Yeah, something's bothering her. So, but I would hate to see something like this go to waste because somebody just got burned out or too frustrated with it. So I will go ahead and purchase these all day long, especially for $10. A lot of the fabrics are very old, and it's a newer piece, you can tell, but she did use older type fabrics, and so I think there's a treasure in that. So I will finish off the edge on this and go ahead and quilt it out, and hopefully, well, most likely some of these I do sell. So, oh, there's my little chihuahua. That's Rosie, everyone, and she likes to be heard. So you won't believe where I find some of these pieces. So like I said, antique shop. This was a boutique at a local quilt guild. I've been to quite a few of those boutiques. Sometimes they call them country stores at different smaller quilt guilds. And you would not believe the treasures that you will find there. So like I said, a lot of projects half done, 3/4 of the way done. And so always make sure if you see a local quilt show, you check it out and see what they might have. Now this is not a quilt, I have to admit. It is a valance, a window valance. I bought it at a garage sale, actually in my father's neighborhood, he lives in a 55 plus community. And but the minute I saw it, it does have the older type fabrics in it. So can you get a good shot of that there, Rob? So when I saw the fabrics and I saw how it was done, again, I fell in love with it. The lady that I bought it from was a quilter. She had it hanging in her room for a long time, and I guess just got tired of it and wanted something new. So I did purchase this. I have a spare room that I keep for guests, but it's got a lot of my sewing stuff in it. My husband Robert right now, in fact today, we're waiting on some boards that he's going to put in there to give me more storage. So shelving, yes. So this is going to go over that window in the spare room. As soon as we kind of get situated, can get a curtain rod hung up. But that's what I bought this for. But like I said, again, not a quilt, but very close, and a lot of really nice fabrics. So my next one is this Sunbonnet Sue. And let me see if I can flip it out a little bit here so you get a little bit more of... Now this, again, I believe I bought this in Pennsylvania. My sister-in-law lives in Ohio, in Akron, and I was originally born in Pennsylvania. So when me and my husband go back, we go back and visit my sister-in-law, and we'll hit the flea markets and the antique shops and Amish country for fabric. I believe one time we shipped home like 10 or 11 flat rate priority boxes full of fabric. So I did find this. I believe it was at a flea market. And it has, let me see here, 3 rows across. Let me hold it up. So it has 3 rows across. Originally it had 4 rows across. And luckily all the damage was all in one, what is that? Vertical row. My husband's helping me out there in behind the scenes. So all I did was I took that last strip of Sunbonnet Sue's off that were damaged. Took it back, quilted it on my machine. I still have the binding to do on it. But again, I took something that was just thrown into a heap that I was able to bring home and repair. Actually, I didn't even repair it. I just kind of made do with taking the one row off and then being able to go ahead and quilt it and giving it a chance to live on. So I just thought they were adorable. And all of this is all original fabric that came with the original quilt. And I just did a white backing on there. So that's one that I wanted to show you. I'm sorry, it's kind of big there. Let me move that over. All right, this one, here, let me flip it out here.
Favorites.
Yeah, this is one of my husband's favorites. It's very old. I absolutely love the design on this. Robert, can you kind of get a... And as you can see, it does have, quite a bit of damage. Right here. Is that good, Rob?
I'll follow you.
Okay. This is some of the damage. Apparently, the red fabric that was used was very thin, and over time, it just did not hold up. So, like I said, when I saw the pattern, I just fell in love with it. So what I will be doing on this one is taking the red off, making a template, cutting a new one out, and I will hand applique it back onto the quilt. So that's what the plans for this one is. There's some pieces that are just lifted here that I need to tack back down. But like I said, almost all the damage is to the red. You can see here also, the blue held up really well. So it just goes to show you. Now, this is stained on the back. It is all hand quilted, as you can see. And there are some stains on the back. And I will soak it, see how clean I can get it. I haven't really touched it yet. I soak it overnight. And I have a solution that I can share with you later. It's Biz and Oxyclean. And there's something else, but I'll share that with you later. But anyway, so like I said, the pattern on this, I just couldn't resist it. So we'll see what we can do. It even looks like some of the binding might need to be replaced. But whatever. I mean, I look at it, I try to figure out what might need to be done to fix it, and go from there. So my next one, this is another one that I purchased, the quilt top, at my local quilt guild, at the boutique again. It was just the top. All of the flowers are hand embroidered that somebody else did. And then let me show you the best part here, if I can find it. It might be on this side. Right here. If you can see this, I fell in love with this. This is a little picket fence that goes around the edge of the whole quilt. And then right here, it's got a little gate with two little swinging arms. But what I did is when I quilted it, I went around each and every flower with my long arm. And then I picked a pattern to just go ahead and do in the blank space.
Let me see if I can get up close.
Okay. Let's see if he can zoom in on that.
That's about it. Yeah,
So,
you can.
and then of course, I washed it. So I also went around each and every little picket fence when I was quilting it. But I love hand embroidery. I am not good at it. And, sometimes we have to realize our strengths and weaknesses. I can do it, but it's just something that I don't have a lot of patience or experience in. So I will look for pieces like this that are already done. I have one or two ladies in my quilt guild that love to do hand embroidery. They do it in front of the TV in the evening. And so sometimes I commission them to do certain pieces if I want to do a quilt with hand embroidery. So, but like I said, this one was just very unique. With all the hand embroidery flowers, I was able to make those really pop with the quilting. And this is one that I just went ahead and did on my long arm, because I thought I could enhance it. So let me fold this up. I got it going every which way. Okay, I'm just going to put it down there. All right. So this one, this is an older quilt. Again, came from my quilt guild, I believe. And the flowers on it are just wonderful. It does have stains. If Robert can see that. There's a couple different little marks on it. To me, that really doesn't bother me. Here's a couple more. To me, it doesn't bother me. I think it adds to the character of the quilt. I mean, if they're big, nasty stains, it's one thing. But if they're little stains like this, or just, you know, something very, it goes to the history of the quilt. I believe when I make quilts that they need to be used. I've said this lots of times. They need to be used. They need to be enjoyed. They need to be thrown in the car or in the RV or the camper or on the back of the chair, and people enjoy them. And to me, when there's stains on it, it shows that somebody enjoyed this quilt and probably used it quite a bit. So that's what it's all about. So when I saw it, like I said, I fell in love with the pattern, the craftsmanship in it that somebody else did, and decided to take it home and display it here in my home. So, and the quilting on it is just fabulous. Robert, can you zoom in on this right here? If you can see the quilting that was done on it. Like I said, this was a completed piece when I bought it. So I didn't add anything to it, but I would really like for you to see. I'll see that. Did we get it there?
See if I can see any shadow part of it so I can catch it.
Okay.
As good as it's going to get.
All righty. On to the next one. This one is a wedding ring quilt. I'm going to hold it up here. The story behind this one is me and my husband Robert travel a lot. We love it. We were actually in Vermont, and we found this in a quilt museum. And it was kind of, what was it in her basement, honey? Mm-hmm. It was in her basement, and she had both antique quilts and quilt tops. Of course, the quilt tops were a lot less expensive than the actual quilts. So again, I looked at Robert and said, can I buy this? And what did he say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So
that's the first one we ever bought.
He says he never says no to me, and that's the truth. So anyway, we bought this one and the next one that I'm going to show you. I always wanted a wedding ring and
a quilt.
Yes, I got a wedding ring. Wedding ring quilt. Thank you. So, and then in our travels, oh, there goes Rosie again. She's barking at some neighbor. In our travels, we came upon a quilt shop, met a very nice lady, again in Vermont, that did free motion quilting. And we started talking to her about the two quilt tops that we purchased. She asked to see them, so we brought them in and showed them to her, kind of showing off our purchases. And she came up with some really good ideas on how to free motion quilt them. And this was years and years ago, before I ever started long arming, or actually, you know, the quilting. I was just doing piecework. So we decided to take her up on it. You know, I look back now and it was a leap of faith because She definitely seemed like she knew what she was doing, and we saw some of her work, but it was still kind of a leap of faith for us. But we did it, and everything came out beautiful. She ended up shipping them back to us once we were home. And I think Robert can get the design here. Again, it was free motioned. So she did the feather pattern here, and then down here in the orange pill section, she did another little feather type design. I'm totally embarrassed to say that, like I said, this was done years ago, and I still don't have the binding on it. So I'm really embarrassed to even admit that. It hangs on a quilt rack in our family room. And, you know, I'm just busy with customers' orders and making things for other people. And it's just something that I need to put on my list to get to and get the binding done on this. So it's a finished piece. So, now this is one of the last ones. This one also came from the the Quilt Museum. And here I'm going to hold it up a little bit. Now, on this one, if you look at the greens and the reds, you can tell the age of this quilt. It's in great condition when we purchased it from her. Again, we took it to the lady that did the free motion on it, and I think she did a wonderful job in quilting it for us. So this and the wedding ring quilt are definitely prized possessions of mine. I love them. We are at some point going to get them hung up. You know, we're doing a lot of home stuff. In another video, I'm going to talk about how we got flooded out of our home by a burst pipe that leads to the toilet in the master bathroom. And we were up in Sisters at the quilt show and didn't know about it. So that's a story for another day. We'll cover that a little bit when I cover my sewing studio. So now this one, I am glad to admit that I did put the binding on it. So I picked a material that was older fashioned type material and did the binding on it. It's got just a plain background. It's got some threads on it that I didn't know were there. But again, this one hangs on the quilt rack in the family room for right now. And we'll get it hung up somewhere so we can display it and share it with some other people. So I'm going to put this over here. Okay, my last find that I would like to share with you all on the quilt side, I'm gonna talk about preserving some quilts too. But this was another great find. Hopefully I can lay it out here so you can truly see it. Let me throw this down here. Okay, so this is a crazy quilt. Hold it up here. I really want to get it spread out so you can really see it. Oops, it's upside down.
I didn't know you could tell that.
But this is a crazy quilt. And a lot of you out there might have one. To me, they're really hard to find. Believe it or not, I found this one in a thrift shop. It was wrapped up and tape around it, so I couldn't really see it. But the minute I saw what it was, I didn't care what kind of condition it was in. I was buying it. And of course, what did Robert say?
I wasn't there, but I was thinking, go ahead.
He wasn't there, but I think he was more excited when I brought it home and showed him my find. So this quilt was $12.99. $12.99 for this.
$12.99.
Yes, $12.99 for this beautiful quilt. And I am going to turn it around because one of the things I want to show you is right here, if Robert can zoom in on this.
We don't have a lot more space, but
I later on found out is hand painted onto here. There's a couple different ones, this one and one other one. But this little picture of this little girl in the bonnet was actually hand painted onto here. And like I said, I didn't even know that they did stuff like that. Luckily, right after I bought it was our Hammock Quilt Show again in February. And we had an appraiser there. So I took it in to her to see what she had to say about it. She said that she believed it came from 1890 or thereabout somewhere. She believed the value on it today in the condition it's in is $400 to $600. So she did make a couple suggestions. You can see the back here, the stitching. They did use fabric on the back to kind of hold it all together. Sometimes it's paper pieced. Sometimes they do it with the fabric like this. So her suggestion was to put muslin on the back, bring it around the edges and tack it so the edges stay intact. So I will do that. And again, we're going to hang this up in a place where we know it won't get any direct sunlight. And so we can share it with our family and friends and other people that come to visit us. But again, like I said, here's one of the other paintings right here. Can you see that, Rob?
let me zoom in on that for you.
Let me maybe move it over a little bit for you. These are felts here. There's a lot of satin with a crazy quilt. That's pretty much what was used.
Can you find some of the embroidered pictures that are on there?
Here's one of the embroidered pieces here.
That flower right there.
That flower right there. But as you look at the pieces in between, the embroidery that she did on this, the embroidery is just unbelievable. Here's one, this right here, and the flowers here are some of her embroidered pieces. This right here is her embroidery. Along with this side right here. Here's another one right here. It's just an absolutely beautiful piece. Another one right here. In it, it's got little pictures. Let me see if I can find it again. There was a little picture of a dog right here. Like a little patch that she embroidered around and put that. This is some more of the exquisite embroidery. I mean, you could just look at this all day long and not get bored with it because there's just so much to look at. The embroidery is so exquisite. And the fabrics, like I said, the felts and the velvets and the satins, some brocades. It's just really something else. And like I said, when I saw it for $12.99, I thought, even if it's not intact, $12.99, I can make something out of it. So brought it back to our friend's house, took the tape off, spread it out, and I was just shocked. I was almost in tears. I was sending pictures to all my friends, talking about how I couldn't believe my find. This is the one piece that's damaged, is right here. And so that was the only thing that I found in the whole quilt where it was damaged. So, and so like I said, she said it was $600 to $800, like I said, in the condition it's in right now. She said if I go ahead and put something around the back of it to the front and preserve it, it'll make it last longer, plus it will add to the value. So it was really interesting having her show me what I needed to do and how to, make this quilt live on and not continue to get any damage. So another one of my fabulous finds. But now what I'd like to talk about really quick before we say our goodbyes is, like this one, if you find something and you're not sure of the condition, or the condition is beyond repair, like you might find an older quilt that you're not up for repairing, or It just cannot be repaired. It might be too much work. There's a couple different things you can do. And this, my husband found it for me in an antique shop. I know, loud car. In an antique shop as we were walking around. And it's a very old piece of quilt that somebody took and framed. They added some buttons, some needles, a needle threader, and framed this. And this is something that I have displayed in my sewing studio. So I love pieces like this when I can find them. Usually when we're going through the antique shops, we're looking for older quilts, or I also do a lot with old embroidery or doilies. So we're always keeping our eyes open for that. And when we find something like this, it's just an extra added treasure that, you know, we weren't looking for, but we were able to find it. So like I said, I have this happily displayed in my quilt studio. Nothing on the back. So this is another piece. Now this one my daughter found for me in an antique shop also. She's always has her eye out for me and is calling me, FaceTiming me, saying, do you want this? Do you want that? This one she didn't even ask me, I don't think. She just bought it and brought it home because she knows what I like. But this is a section of an old quilt that somebody apparently found and apparently was beyond repair. There's a couple little rips in it. There's a little rip right here, and there's one down here, a little hole right there. But what they did with it, I mean, I've had it for, what do you think, hon? About 6 years, maybe, somewhere around there. And all they did was take it and put it into a hoop, and I have it displayed in my sewing studio up on the wall. It's one of my favorite pieces. And so it just goes to show you that if you find an older quilt and buy it and try to help it live on, help it keep the tradition going, whether it's something that you can just automatically use like some of mine, or if it's piecework that needs to be repaired, or maybe just something that's not finished. Like I said, that somebody just couldn't get to the end of, and you take it and give it new life. So I truly believe in this very strongly, and I love to see these pieces have a second life almost. So, so that's it for today. Thank you all for joining me. Please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Please don't forget to comment on my hexagon quilt, whether I should hand quilt it or machine quilt it. And subscribe if you like my video. I'll be doing a lot more here in the future, so I'm looking forward to spending more time with you all, and have a wonderful day.